there'll be no's today and tomorrow, and at times, yeah, you can still take it personally, and you think, well, but yeah, you've got to just kind of realize that it's not a no to you, it's a no to your business or your product or your service or your opportunity, but it's also just a no for now.
Welcome to the podcast, Lee. I'm super excited to have you here as a guest today.
Thank you very much, Anna. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. I'm excited to see that you've got the podcast going, and yeah, very, very happy to be a part of it. So thank you very much. Looking forward to talking.
Yeah, me too. So can you give us a brief introduction of who you are, what you do, in which industry you are, and for how many years you've been there? And also, if you can share something unexpected about you that people usually don't guess that easy about you.
Okay.
That'd be awesome.
Interesting. Yeah. So I kind of always sort of start this with like the personal side. So I am a father. I've got a little girl who is 4 years old and husband. So yeah, living out here in Dubai with my family, which is great. We've been in Dubai for just over 2 years now. On a working level, I am now in the insurance industry. So actually recently started a new role back in April. So quite an interesting time with lockdown. Started work at home and still working from home at the moment as well. So yeah, in the insurance industry. Prior to that, I was kind of within digital marketing and also real estate over in the UK, but predominantly kind of sales roles in the past. And this is similar, but it's probably a little bit more focused on kind of relationships rather than direct sales as well. So yeah, really kind of enjoying it. It's a new industry. There's a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying the challenge and yeah, picking up a lot as I go on. And I'm fortunate to have great people and a great team around me to help, which of course makes a difference. So yeah, that's it. Loving living in Dubai. It's a great place. Family love it, and there's lots to do, lots to see. It's obviously a little bit hot at the moment, but yeah, we're very, very happy here. So something that people don't know or wouldn't expect about me. Very good question. So there's one thing that I've done that not a lot of people know about, which was a good few years back. I was involved in a network marketing business, and I actually spoke on stage in front of just under 2,000 people at a training conference. So something that I'm actually quite proud of as well, because it was a big thing to do and sort of step up and do that. But in the end, I was very nervous, of course, at the start, but really enjoyed it. It was only about 10 minutes. So yeah, that's something that not a lot of people know, to be honest, about me, apart from the people that were there, if they can remember.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that with us here. So another trick question, if I can ask that. We are creating here a series of playlists, and based on your answers, this episode is going to be in one of those playlists. Okay. So how do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as an introvert, extrovert, or an ambivert? And it's more about not how sociable you are or how good you are in speaking in public or presenting. It's more, how do you recharge your batteries when you feel low?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's another good question. I would probably say more of an introvert, to be honest. I think there's maybe a little bit of a misconception when it comes to like sales, particularly, that you have to be an extrovert to do well in sales, and you have to be so outgoing, and you just love being around people. And don't get me wrong, like I socialize, with a couple of friends or in groups, and I'm kind of happy either way. And I can go into the working environment with a lot of people, whether it's the new clients or colleagues, and and be comfortable in that. But equally, as you sort of talk about, relaxing, and apart from family, I don't mind having a little bit of time on my own. And yeah, I think even in the past, I've sort of thought to myself, oh, I'm probably a little bit too introvert to be good at this sales kind of side and the sales stuff. But I think realizing that it's not a bad way to be. Either way, you can make it work. So Yeah, it's probably one that I don't think about too much, but now that you ask, I'd be tempted to say, both, but I'd probably lean a little bit more, probably 60-40 towards, being more of an introvert. And yeah, I'm not afraid to kind of have a little bit of time on my own, and maybe even just, taking part in an activity. I was in the gym this morning on my own, and I quite like it. I don't mind being there and, doing something like that. But equally, I love the times when you're around people, friends, family, and big groups together, and do like to kind of, yeah, be in that space at times as well. So yeah, but yeah, happy to take some time on my own for sure.
And to be honest, I was expecting you to say extrovert.
Well, yeah, I think that's obviously, we know each other from previous, and where we kind of connected, and I guess you have to have that little bit of extrovert to put yourself out in a group. And I think that's why there's a balance, because I feel like I can do it, and I won't say I'm comfortable doing it. Sometimes it is uncomfortable, but I think I've done it very often. So yeah, it probably does come across perhaps to other people that, well, he's an extrovert because he looks very comfortable, but inside I'm like, oh, I'm not enjoying this. This is so uncomfortable to me. So I think maybe I've kind of figured out how to, I wouldn't say put an act on, but how to push yourself, and yeah, be a little bit out of your comfort zone in that sense. So yeah,
And
going into a
how
group
have
of
you managed
strangers
to
is
do
difficult.
that?
Just continuing to do it. I think practice. Like I do believe in, in putting yourself out of your comfort zone. I think it's not a good place to be. I think it's very easy to stay there, and to not attend that event because there's going to be people that you don't know, and you're going to have conversations, and you're going to have to make conversation. And but I think I learned probably in the last 5 to 10 years about doing stuff like this, whether it's just taking on more information, surrounding myself with different people, putting myself in, saying yes, I think, to a lot more. And don't get me wrong, there's times when I'm still not perfect. I don't do it all the time, but I think it's just it's a conscious effort to do stuff like that. To go, well, it makes me a bit nervous, this, and not actually looking forward to it. But then you do it and you realize, what, it was quite good. It was fun. I enjoyed it, and it wasn't that bad. And then I'll do it again. So yeah, I think just being open to taking on more sort of challenges like that, putting yourself out, and yeah, continuing to do it.
There is this YouTube channel that my husband actually discovered, and I started watching their videos. It's called Yes Theory.
Okay.
And their tagline is "Seek discomfort."
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, such an inspiring channel. Sometimes they do crazy things. They're like entertainment, of course. We need a bit of that. But many times they're doing, especially for us as introverts, where like the baseline is we have a bit of anxiety when we're going in public or we're meeting new people. But just to see that example, because they're young, they're in their 20s. I mean, we're also young, but like they're younger than us. And it's such an inspiring and positive example that's saying, hey, it's okay to feel discomfort, and it's actually magic happens when we sit a bit in that discomfort and we see the result.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's definitely important to do it and to put yourself in that position. And I think one of the things I've learned recently as well is almost, well, is to make sure that you acknowledge it as well, because it's very easy to just kind of do it, and then you kind of forget, and then the next one comes up and you're uncomfortable again, and you go through that rather than maybe just reflecting a little bit. I did that and I really wasn't looking forward to it, and I really felt uncomfortable, but it was good, and so I've now taken a little step further. So now you recognize that for when the next kind of challenge or whatever it may be comes up, you think, well, you've got to celebrate it a little bit. I think I've probably been guilty of doing stuff and kind of forgetting that I've done it, and forgetting how it felt, and at the start, during, and after, and yeah, not really, I guess, giving myself a pat on the back for getting out of the comfort zone and doing something like that. So yeah.
That's really good to be able to celebrate. Yeah, I totally agree with your point there. Sometimes we're just like we're doing, but we don't take the time to slow down to celebrate our successes, even if it's just tiny. It's a tiny
Yeah,
success. It's still our success.
yeah, absolutely. It is. It's doing those little things over time consistently, and just getting out of bed in the morning at times can be a can be a bit of a success and something to celebrate. And yeah, if you can, do stuff beyond that, then yeah, absolutely, it should be recognized and try and anchor that sort of feeling and yeah, give yourself a bit of a celebration for it for sure.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. So now let's get into the questions that we have for the episodes,
Yeah,
and because the format is I've shared, and I want to be transparent here. I've shared the questions with you, and at least you have an awareness which way the conversation goes, to make a great episode, of course.
yeah,
And so today we're talking about sales and about the reality of the sales industry. So one of my questions for you would be, what's something that you wished you knew when you started in this industry?
Um, so what I would probably say, to be honest, is I'd link it a little bit to what we've discussed about the kind of introvert and extrovert side. Whereas probably early days, I thought, I don't feel like I'm a salesy person. I'm not that's like so extrovert and will say and do anything to clients. And probably question myself, well, am I going to be able to do this? Because I'm not like that. And I think probably understanding that you don't need to be. I'm certainly not saying that's a bad way to be, and it can work. But probably what I found is that a lot of the way I've generally sold, if that's the right way to say it, is based on kind of relationships and trust and giving value and really doing what I say that I'm going to do, not pushing someone or being a salesy kind of a typical salesman that people think of, whether it's cars, real estate, insurance, whatever it may be. So yeah, I think probably just knowing that by doing what you say you're going to do, by really connecting with people, building relationships, building trust, being credible, you can do very well, in the sales industry, and you don't have to be that person that is, a salesy and puts himself so out there and so extrovert. Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Definitely, that's a great point of view, because we mostly see those type of people that are pushy, right? Or at least in movies, right?
Yeah,
Because if you
yeah,
meet a good salesperson, then you see the reality is so different. They're good
yeah.
because what you shared just now.
Yeah, I would agree. It's that kind of, it's a misconception again, isn't it? That all salespeople are like that, and there's certain industries that probably get targeted a little bit more with that view. And of course, people like that are out there, and they some will probably still do very well, and that's great. But I think for anybody that's kind of thinking, oh, I want to go into that, but I'm not a salesperson, I'm not the guy that's like that, or I'm not that, I'm not how that person is, then I think you just got to be yourself at the end of the day. And probably the best people that I have worked with and I've met and I've dealt with and I've bought from are people that I like. I connect with them. I have build a relationship. I trust them, and that they haven't kind of pushed me. They've helped me. They've given value, and because of that, I buy from them, and then I want to use them again. If somebody comes to me and is very pushy and over the top salesy, then I'm not interested, and I'm not gonna take it any further. So, yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, great insight. Um, I can imagine that when you started, especially in the sales, not knowing all of this, you had a few setbacks. So
yeah,
how have you dealt with those, and what kept you going?
yeah. I mean, there's the within sales, there's setbacks on a daily basis. To be honest, you're always looking for the next kind of lead or the next deal ultimately, and when obviously getting no is it hard to take at times. So there's minor or little setbacks like that, but sometimes they can seem huge. You get a no to from a client, a deal, and it can be like the end of the world. So I guess it's like that, is really sort of reframing yourself. I think probably for me, the time I spent in the UK and I was in the real estate industry, it never actually really felt like I was in a sales job, which probably sounds a bit crazy because I was selling properties. But I think the environment that we worked in, it wasn't a sales orientated kind of company. You know, I genuinely, and people will probably think, what is he talking about? Like it's real estate, but it was just so different. It was, you know, there was no, we didn't, like, for example, there was no kind of set target, but we were a very successful company. You know, the number one estate agent real estate company in that area. So it was probably something that I wasn't too aware of until I came over to Dubai and started in my previous role, and that was very much like, oh wow, this is sales. Like, you know, this is, we're actually really doing sales. And I look back and think, well, I've been doing it for 11 years previously. I just didn't really see it like that. So um,
So
I
what
think
was the difference there?
um, I think it was just the environment. I think just the way that, you know, I guess scale, you know, like I was in a small independent company, one office, 8 to 10 staff, in a town in England, as opposed to, you know, working for a company with 30, 40, 50 staff in a city like Dubai, and, you know, dealing with large corporate businesses and, you know, clients and individuals, and just, yeah, just actually having a sales team. You know, straight away when you've got a sales team, there are different sales processes and targets and goals, and yeah, I felt like, wow, actually, this is sales now. But on the back of it, as I say, it was like I had been doing it anyway. So I think, yeah, the environment, the way it was set up. I'm not saying, you know, again, both work very well, and it's just an interesting kind of dynamic change, to be honest. There's probably not really been any, you know, I just think of setbacks as in the day to day. You know, the people that say no to you. I think in my kind of career, I would probably say a setback that I had was, in the previous role in the UK. I guess I kind of felt like my career was sorted. I had a plan, and I'd become a director of the company after a certain period of time, and I'd always thought, well, that's it. You know, that's what I'm going to do. And probably what the setback was is my own realization that that wasn't enough for me. That I didn't, not I didn't want it, but it wasn't going to keep me. I wasn't happy, basically. You know, I'd always thought that I'd get to this milestone and great, you know, life would be great and I'd be loving it and so on and so on. And that kind of setback was actually like, I feel I need more. I need something else. You know, I'm a bit stuck. So that was kind of a setback, I guess, on the career. And from there, ultimately, I made the decision to leave, and a few months later, ended up moving to Dubai and haven't looked back. To be honest, you know, it's been a challenge because I had to take a step back, probably from where I was at to kind of go forward. But yeah, so far, you know, it's been well worth it, and there's not one bit of me that has, you know, looked back to that and thought I made the wrong decision. I think what I did was absolutely right. So yeah.
And you were so courageous to take that leap of faith in the end of the day, to slow yourself down, saying, hey, I've reached this position, it's not giving me exactly what I've imagined it would give me. So
Yeah.
then what's next? And deciding to just be courageous and brave. Because even though we don't see ourselves as brave or courageous when we're doing things, they are.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. I mean, now that you've said it, I probably wouldn't have said that myself. But yeah, you know, I get that, and again, I think it's that comfort zone. I was very much in the comfort zone, like so comfortable. Like I could have stayed. I could have had a nice life financially and income and so on. But I wasn't happy. Like I deeply wasn't happy and didn't feel like I was, you know, making the progression that I wanted, and that was affecting not only the working side but the personal side. So, you know, at that point, it's like, well, I can carry on, and, you know, it, although it was comfortable, I wasn't happy, but it was comfortable in the fact that I could have just stayed and carried on and done the day to day, and yeah, it would have been, but it was a case of, well, I need to get out of this comfort zone, and I need to find a place that is really uncomfortable and you know, Dubai, as nice as it is and as lovely as it is, and everyone is, you know, it was uncomfortable, of course, at times, going into a new job and taking a little bit of a step back, moving countries, moving my family, living without my family for a period of time, meeting new people, and yeah, starting in a new industry and a new career. And but as I say, it's definitely something that I'm glad that I did, for sure. So.
And for an introvert, it's so inspirational to see other people succeed at these moves and being brave. And it's like, wow, such a role model. Thank you for sharing your story with us. What's one advice that you received when you were just starting out in sales that changed your perspective?
So many things. I think definitely, again, I've already kind of touched on it, but just like being yourself. I think you know, I follow a lot of people, and I kind of aspire to an extent, and I really get value from a lot of people within the industry, but I'm not them. I can't be them. I shouldn't try to be them. And, you know, I want to take what I can learn from them and adapt it into my own way. I think trying to be somebody else, you know, because you think that they're doing well in sales or they've done well is not the way to go. You know, I think you've got to be yourself. Of course, you can learn and you can improve and you can grow, and that might take you. You might become a little bit different eventually than maybe when you started a year ago or 5 years ago, but continue to be yourself, and yeah, just do what you want to do. So, I mean, I was again very fortunate in the previous role to kind of have, you know, great support and a very good kind of environment and people that were helping me without me really maybe like putting a label on it, you know, putting, oh, that's like I'm getting sales advice there, but just, I guess, giving you confidence, you know, just kind of people believing in you. At the end of the day, people believing in me was probably, you know, in a way the best sort of advice that I've been given, in a strange way, to, you know, allow me to do new things. They you know, gave me a new role that I'd not had any experience or any knowledge in, and were like, okay, go and do that. And I'm like, oh. But I knew that they knew I could do it. So if they knew I could do it, then it's like, well, they know what they're talking about. So, you know, that's kind of that belief, and it sort of felt like, you know, advice to an extent. And yeah, I think, you know, when you talk about sales, there's a lot of kind of process stuff. I think, you know, just doing what you say you're going to do. You know, I believe in that. If I say, Anna, I am giving you a call back, you know, when do you want to call back? Well, we're going to speak on Wednesday. I'm going to call you on Wednesday at that time. I'm not going to forget. I'm not going to make an excuse because I've told you I'm going to do that. So, you know, doing stuff like that, just being being trustworthy, you know, making sure that you follow up and you kind of tick all the boxes that are part of, you know, most sort of sales processes, and connect with people. Definitely, like, be open to connecting with people, and again, like, as a kind of an introvert, there's times when I might be in places and I don't speak to people. I'm in that kind of introvert space now. I'm just in my own kind of space, and perhaps I could connect more, because, you know, it might help for business and, you know, and connections. So yeah, just being aware of that and just being open to those people that are around you, for sure, is definitely something that, you know, as it's all about your network, it's all about your connections, it's about who you know, and building that up, and, you know, and looking to help people without a doubt, not just, okay, I'm going to speak to you because you might become a client or you might buy from me. I'm going to speak to you because hopefully I can help you, and if I help you, then one day maybe you'll come to me and we'll do some business perhaps.
And it's such a good practice to have in the beginning of your career, because you can build on that and establish your reputation as somebody who's keeping his or her word.
Yeah,
and that's really how we grow in the end of the day. And to be honest, I just want to, if I can say, congratulate the company that you're at the beginning, because when you're young and we get that advice to be ourselves, and when we're in our 20s, like, what does that actually mean? Like, how do we know to be ourselves? There's so many rules, regulations, like advice, sometimes conflicting advice from other people.
Definitely.
So it's a tough spot to be in, like being ourselves. I think we get to the point to be ourselves when we have more experience and when we understand what are some of our boundaries, right? And what do we actually like and who we are at our core, so that we can share more of that and be ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And it's a good point that you say as well about the advice. There's so much advice out there, and there's so much different advice. So it can be you can be pulled from one side to the other. Well, I should do that, or no, I should do it that way. So I think you've got to try and seek out those who you connect with yourself, and they align with you. So somebody in the sales industry that I think, I like what they're saying, I like what they're doing, and I have that shared kind of values with them, and that's the advice that I'm going to take. Now that doesn't mean that the other advice isn't right, but that's the one for me, and that's where I'm going to. And of course, there's probably a few different people that maybe you'll follow and you'll learn from, but yeah, holding your values as well, definitely, like again you say, is and I think with that, probably another thing is maybe just realizing that not everybody is your client or your customer, because not everybody will like me, and I know that, and it's cool. Some people will, some people will not care either way, and then there'll be people that that do, and are likely to kind of work with you, or you're likely to build relationships. So I think you can spend a lot of time really chasing everybody, thinking, well, there's 100 people, I should be working with 100 of them, but it's not going to happen. You've got to focus on the 30 that will, and they'll bring you the best results over time. So establishing your target market, or the people that again are aligned with you. It might be to do with your interest or just the way you are as a person. Then probably spend time with people like that, or spend time in those sort of groups, because you'll definitely have a better chance of developing a relationship on a personal side, and then maybe a business relationship from it as well. So.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, it's important to understand that, especially in the beginning, because we take no very personally, and the rejection is like so tough.
Yeah. It is. It's I mean, I think practice again, but I've been doing it a long time, and there'll be no's today and tomorrow, and at times, you can still take it personally, and you think, well, but yeah, you've got to just kind of realize that it's not a no to you, it's a no to your business, or your product, or your service, or your opportunity. But it's also just a no for now. That doesn't mean that the day after you get a call back and it's a yes, or in a year you get a call back and it's a yes. So yeah, I think just trying to deal with that in the right way. And I had a no yesterday, quite a big no, and it was tough. And I probably sulked for good 15 minutes and had my head in my hands, and realized, well, there's two ways of dealing with this. It's I can carry on sulking and not doing anything else, or respond in a positive way, wish them all the best, and know that next year I'm going to get the business. And it's a year then later than I hope, but it will come round. And I think it's easy to say it, you've got to do it now, but yeah, that's it happens, of course.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story with us. Yeah, because like in the end of the day, this podcast and YouTube channel is real people, real emotions, and talking straight. Like this is the reality of it.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, the no's, there'll probably be another one today, but there'll be some yeses
exciting,
there.
Right?
Yeah, there's always that thing of the no's lead to a yes, but yeah, you've got to expect them. They're going to happen. Again, it's easier said than done to kind of just take them on the chin and accept it. But yeah, it makes the yeses even more worth it. And again, to try and celebrate those and focus on them. But yeah, it's good fun, that's for sure.
Another question that I've recently, or since the beginning of the podcast, I've asked, and I was like so surprised with the answers that I've received. If we are to look at a scale of 1 to 10, 1, you were very bad at it, 10, you were amazing, how good were you at asking for help when you're in your 20s?
Oh, good question, Anna. Seems like a long time ago. It's not that long ago. I think, to be honest, I've probably always been, when it comes to work and like business, I've probably always been pretty good at asking for help. You know, I've always been kind of keen to learn and I want to know more and I want to grow, and I'm not afraid to ask questions because that's probably how I learn. So I will learn by asking a question and I know the answer and that's it. You know, so maybe I'll be asked something by a client and I don't know. So I'll say I don't know, I'll go and find out, and then I know, well, I've learned that now. So it's kind of on the job experience in a way. So I think on a work side, I would say, yeah, I was always pretty good. I was always willing to do it, and I would generally, always take the advice on board as well. Probably on a personal side, probably not as good. Of course, everyone has times when you're struggling for whatever reason. Maybe it's to do with work, maybe it's just life in general, and it's that time when you need to ask for help, and help can just be a conversation with someone. And yeah, there's probably times when I'll hold stuff into myself for a lot longer than maybe I should, and yeah, asking for help or support in some way would have made a difference. So yeah, there's probably two sides of it. I'm very kind of different on the work wise, business wise. Yeah, just no issue. I would always ask questions and always be keen. But yeah, maybe on a personal side, that might be something that I maybe should do a bit more of.
Thank you so much for that distinction. It's also very helpful to identify that at work we're a person and at home we're a different person sometimes.
Yeah.
And we react and we interact in different ways. And how do you see yourself now after how many years?
How many years I've been working? 15 years now in the sort of, well, longer than that. I mean, so what am I now? I forget now. 32 now, or 33. I can't even remember. 33 I am. 33. Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I was working, from, I don't know, the age of 14 in like part-time sort of, I was very interested in golf at the time. So I was kind of working in picking up golf balls and getting into the environment. And then, yeah, I started my kind of professional career, let's say, from the age of 18, 19. So yeah, it's just been a long sort of journey, and I've learned a lot, and yeah, I think I would still say that I'm very open to improving, open to advice. I want to know more. I want to become better. I want to grow, and I certainly don't think that I know it all. Far from it. I've got so much still to learn, and so much kind of growth left that I would never, yeah, I would never see myself as a finished article. And I'm the master, and I'm perfect, and I know everything. There's new stuff that happens every day, and there's new information and knowledge that you need. So yeah, I think I would say that I'm still open, still yeah, always kind of looking to push forward, which is a good trait, but can also provide some challenges at times, as well. And you can't sit still, and you just want to keep going forward, and it can't not necessarily always the case. So yeah, overall, just learning, taking on advice, and wanting to grow, and wanting to do and be better, I guess.
Thank you for sharing that with us here. What's one advice that you would give somebody considering sales or looking for their options and seeing which way to go, and they would say, oh, maybe I'm gonna give sales a chance? What would you advise them to do?
To do it, I think it is a great industry. It's like there are, again, misconceptions of the industry of sales as well, but it's an ultra professional industry. Or to do it right, it is. Of course, there's people like in every way that don't do it in a professional, trustworthy, honest way. But if you can do it in the right sort of way, then there's rewards, whether that's financially, but also personally. With the way you can help people. I think I would advise, a focus on doing it not just for the commercial or financial reason. Do it to help people. Do it because you have a product or a service that you believe can help people or people need, and you can find an interest in doing that. I think very easy to say go and sell something that you're passionate about, but I actually don't really believe that many people can be passionate, ultra like passionate about a product or a service, but what they can be passionate about is helping people with that product or service. So, you know, I in effect in insurance. Now, am I passionate about the insurance, like the certificate? Well, no, I'm not, but I really value and I really enjoy helping people and seeing them, grow on a personal or business level. And that's, what we can do is we can help people because they've got to tick the box, or they've got to make sure that they have the right protection in place for themselves personally, or for the business, for example. So that's where my passion is looking after and helping people. It wouldn't be boxed up in the insurance policy as such. So it might be that, well, I want to go into sell this, but I don't really like the product. You don't like the product, that's going to be tough. That's going to be difficult. Either you can find a way where, you can enjoy the process and you can have that value, but you've got to have, there's got to be something there, definitely. But I think overall, my advice would be to do it. Like, what is the worst that can happen if you don't do it? Similar to I had with moving to Dubai. If I didn't do it, I would never know. And I guess a lot of cases you won't look back, but give it a go, give it your best, give it time. Definitely give it time as well, because there's probably not many sales jobs where you can come in on day 1 or day 7, you're a huge success. Yes, you can do well, but it's generally going to take time. So allow yourself some time and just give it your best and go for it. And maybe set a time period, 6 months, a year, where you say, right, I'm going to do everything I possibly can for that period, and then I'm going to review it. And if I'm enjoying it, and if I'm doing well and I can see it progressing, then carry on. If not, if you don't like it, get out of there. Like, if you don't like it after a month, then get out of there. If you don't like it after 6 months, definitely get out of there. And if you don't like it after 12, then you need to think about something else. And that might just be a different sales role, product, service, or whatever, but it could be a different industry as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your advice. It's like, oh, this is so gold. So what's next for you this year?
I guess a little bit more of the same, to be honest. I know from starting a new role back in April, it is early days still. So there's a lot of learning. There's a lot of doing. There's connecting with clients and really establishing the relationships, and that's what this role is about. Is kind of building the relationships and again looking to help people through what we do, which is insurance. So yeah, for me, it's definitely just taking on as much as I can. Being involved with as many of the clients as I possibly can, and just pushing on to get the results, but having a level of acceptance that there's a long-term focus with this as well. So yeah, enjoying it, and outside of that as well, just it's obviously difficult or challenging times at the moment for everyone with what's been going on. For me personally, and everybody is different and has their own opinion, and that's fine. I'm really trying to just kind of continue as it was, where you can. Of course, you have to respect everything that's happened and do what we need to do to protect other people. But as far as I'm concerned, if I'm allowed to do stuff, then I want to do it, and I'm gonna do it in a way that is respectful of other people as well. So yeah, it's just really a little bit of getting out a little bit more than maybe in the last few months to an extent, but yeah, overall it's kind of more of the same, just continuing to push forward, really.
Great, thank you. And how can people get in touch with you?
Good question. I'm trying to be more visible on the likes of social media. LinkedIn is probably where I am in terms of social media platforms. Is where I am available. LinkedIn, I enjoy LinkedIn. It's a great platform, great to build connections. So yeah, LinkedIn absolutely would be great to connect with people on there. I am on, Instagram and Facebook, but I don't really use them. It's more of a personal thing, and when I do use them. But of course, can reach out to me via LinkedIn, email, of course, and happy to chat to people by phone as well if it's just for advice, or of course, if there's anything we can help them with. But yeah, if there's people that are considering like career in sales or looking at moving to Dubai, for example, then I'm always happy to help, because people help me. I asked a lot of questions prior to moving out here, and had different opportunities, and asked a lot of questions about the industries and the companies and the situation, and people help me. So I get messages on LinkedIn from people that are are looking for advice, and yeah, where possible, I'm always happy to help. And I don't have all the answers by any stretch, but I'll be happy to chat and see what I can do, for sure. So
Great, thank you so much, and definitely we will be sharing your contact details in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great. Wow, this episode was, as I said, it's gold, and it's also helping me as well in the sales, because business coaching and coaching in general, if you're doing it by yourself and trying to build a business, definitely sales is not the first thing that comes in mind, but it's so necessarily to be able to do the business correctly and to have success. So it's very helpful for me as well. Thank you.
Yeah, it is. No, a very important part of any business, and I'm sure you'll continue to grow as you are as well. So no, thank you very much. Been good to talk to you.
Thank you.